32 years after his controversial annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Nigeria's former head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, admitted for the first time that the late philanthropist and democracy hero Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Mko Abiola won the election. The startling revelation was contained in Babangida's 420-page memo titled A Journey in Service, an autobiography of Ibrahim Babangida, which was launched in Abuja on Thursday, with continental and national dignitaries in attendance, by former Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. Although I am on record to have stated that the election that Abiola may not have won the election, upon further reflection and a closer examination of all available facts, particularly the detailed elections results which are published as an appendix to this book, there was no doubt that Mko Abiola won the June 12 elections, Babangida admitted in his book. Upon closure examinations of the original collated figure from the 110 polling booths nationwide, it was clear that he satisfied the two main requirements for winning the presidential election, mainly majority votes and geographical spread, having obtained 8,128,720 votes against Stofa's 5,848,247 votes, and securing the mandatory of one-third of the votes cast in 28 states of the Federation, including Abuja. During his address, Babangida, famously known as IBB, told the gathering that the emolument of the pool was in extreme national interest. Please, I'd love to get your thoughts on this quickly.
Well, the thing is, it's good that, truth is very stubborn. It remains what it is. It is good that the retired general has decided to disclose what had been known to almost everybody.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm going to cut you short. We actually have a Zoom guest go on air right now, so we'll love to get his thoughts. Then I continue with you. That's fine by me. I'm so sorry about that. Chief Wuke is here. Chief Obona Wuke is here. He's a former House of Rep and a publisher of the Port Harcourt Telegraph. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Although the output here is very low.
Oh. Maybe I have to be louder. I have to be louder enough so you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me now, sir?
Well, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Should I take the story again, or you're already conversant with the story about the June 12th elections?
Oh, well, I think that, frankly, a such chapter in our history had not been shut down, and we must thank God that we are witness to it. The June 12 election, which eventually, which was seen then as the freest and the best recognized in Nigeria, finally has a victor, and that victor is late Mko Abiola. It's unfortunate that too much water has gone under the bridge. Unfortunate that so many events have played out. Some of those who were connected to this time in history are all gone. But what is important is that at last, truth has prevailed. You recall that when Buhari was president of Nigeria, he acknowledged publicly that Mko won that election. But what makes this different is that he supervised the annulment of that election, and for reasons best known to him, he annulled the election. But through his book, we now know that actually the elections put aside by the military at that time around the differences by Abiola. And to the soul of the departed, we hope that now that the truth is here, that the souls of those who are gone, who were part of this struggle, this great struggle, great Nigerians who died as a result, that their souls will rest in peace.
Why do you think Babangida, why do you think he had to come now to make this statement after 32 years? And like you stated, lots of souls were lost during this June 12th election.
I didn't get that.
Why do you think why would Babangida come now to admit after 32 years that Mko Abiola won the presidential election in June 12th? Considering the fact that a lot of lives were lost at that time, why did he wait up till now to admit to that?
It's taken 32 years of great reflections on his part, I suppose, and taking 32 years of great questioning of the Nigerian people as to what happened at that time. 32 years after, IBB still lives, is not dead. And I think that some of these issues certainly would weigh on his conscience. And it's a good thing that now, at this point, he has decided to put down his memoirs and been able to capture some of those missing gaps. Now, see whatever IBB is saying now was not known to Nigerian people who used to see the president winner of the June 12th elections, and who used to say Abiola won it, maybe with complete facts. But I think the facts are available now by the greatest of the actors at that time, who admits publicly at a moment of great reflection that honestly, MKO won that election.
Okay. Do you think Babangida was coerced not to make, a statement at the time? Because if we check back into records, they were close friends at that time. While there was this elections, do you think there was sort of like a principality, if I may use that word, a higher hand that made him not to agree or not let Abiola become the president at that time?
I think what IBB has done is to declassify information. Most of this information may have been classified from their point of view or from his point of view. And honestly, we've had great people like Humphrey who have conducted elections. Most have had the opportunity in their time to reflect, keep their mind on these issues. It's possible. Look, the weight of what happened that day, when almost all of the results have been uploaded, when what was left was a declaration of the winner, when that took place. I think that it would be difficult for, in my view, it would be difficult for IBB to go to the grave without unbundling some of the weight that he's carried on. It's 32 years after IBB speaks of accounts of what from Nadeko, accounts that will go from activists in the field, accounts that will go from journalists in the field to cover those events, some of who became victims. Then the point remains that we'll have a clearer picture as a result of IBB's resolve to tell the truth. And that's something maybe even if I had all the blames on him, I can say I admire him for. He has been able to come out clearly to say on his honor that MKO won that election. He said Buhari had already hinted at it when he recognized MKO and said all the attributes of the president to be considered to him. What I believe is some more information in the market space as to what aspect, why those actions were taken, and how he kept quiet. But if you look at the run of events, that most of those the coup who were also asking for their turns in power, and whose actions forced IBB to flee, to be that. At the end of the day, who was something that IBB said could not have dismissed easily. I think he was a victim of his own conscience, a prisoner of conscience. At the end of the day, he has decided as he gets older, he's on the world. This is what where's the perspective? The other ones are dead, so nobody's likely to ask them questions. Dead men don't talk. The IBB's account stands that he was not instrumental directly, and he did this to save the nation and to save the lives of those who won elections. So, but it's his own account, his account against the dead. But for whatever it's worth, his account that will have in the public space.
Question. There's been this criticism over the statement from Babangida that he should have made a public apology instead of just making the statement that Mko Abiola won the presidential election because lives were lost, and then the traumatic experience that possibly Abiola had at the time, and then the friendship betrayal between both of them, that he should have actually made a public apology instead of just making the statement. I'd love to get your thoughts on that quickly, sir.
You want an apology, you can get one. But I think that we're talking about facts at this point. And the basic, in my view, is that whereas the reasons for those actions are coming belatedly, it presents us with a complete picture of what transpired in those days, those hours, and those moments when those decisions, unfortunately not in the interest of Nigeria, okay. And it shows us what played out within the military brass as Abiola, for the first time, Southern won an election in Nigeria's president. So, frankly, there may have been too many internal contradictions,
yes.
But IBB offers us a little insight. I'm not good, but given the was handled by VP of it is obvious that there's more that most Nigerians will stumble on when a book becomes public material. But in the meantime, it's up not to the Nigerian people. If an apology is sufficient, or must still be part of the structure. But that is that all of the events, accounts relating to those events in place. It is no longer a question of whether Abiola supposedly won the election or not. It is authoritative now that Abiola won that election. And I think that was critical, in my view, is what happens to the soul of those who are gone. My prayer is that they will rest in peace now that their place in this state will be recognized.
Thank you so much on that, Chief Onawuke. I really, really appreciate this time. Thank you so much, sir. Well, we will continue. We will get back to you or if we have more stories on that. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Let's continue. I also want to get your input on this quickly, please. And considering I actually asked the question on this instance, and I wanted to the fact that Babangida had to wait up till now to release this memo that he has, in order to use it as a means to come out to admit that Mko Abiola won this June 12th elections, after all this long period of time. It's actually a thing for concern. Like I asked, these were close friends at the time. Yes, they were very close friends. So there's this thing of betrayal and uncertainty. And then he made mention of it was for the interest of the nation in his book. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please.
Okay, like I was saying before your guest came in.
Okay.
The disclosures by the former general came way too belated. and it has added no value, okay, to the events that happened after June 12, 1993. You see, one can only be entitled to his opinion. You cannot be entitled to your own facts. Fact is stubborn. If Abiola won the election, Nigerians knew. Nigeria did not wait for Babangida to publish his book for us to know that.
Everybody knew.
So this one coming up now is neither here nor there. Like I said, you are only entitled to your opinion and not your own facts.
Okay.
But Abiola won the election in 1992. Nigerians knew. So him waiting just after 32 years to come to publish it, it makes the disclosure and the fact about what he has done very, very light.
I'm sorry, if I may cut you short here. You said this twice, that as during the 1993, June 12, 1993 elections, Nigeria knew that Abiola won the election, I'll tell you and we did not do anything about it at the time.
No, I'll tell you, political developments showed clearly that Nigerians and the political class, everybody knew that indeed Abiola won that election.
Okay.
I will tell you how and why. After the June 12, 1993 annulment, events followed. Okay. First was he's handed over to Shenekan, who was now deposed by Sani Abacha and all of that. So after the annulment, events followed. Now, when the Sani Abacha died and Abu Salami came on board, and then he was very serious in returning Nigeria back to democracy, and towards the coming on board of the Fourth Republic. You see that there was a political consensus among the political class then that this power should be given to the Southwest to assuage Mko Abiola. And the reason is simple. The reason is because they believed, as at 1998, that the Southwesterner, in the person of Mko Abiola, actually won the election. So as a compensation to that part of the country, Obasanjo was brought on board, even though from prison, to come and got the support of real Nigerians through PDP, and he was elected as president. So that is one evidence that Nigerians, even the political class, then knew who won that election. They did not wait for Babangida's impute or denial to know what exactly happened. Secondly, during the reign of the past President Muhammadu Buhari, he actually recognized or formally made presidential declarations to the effect that Mko Abiola did win the 1993 June 12 election. And even though I don't support that course of action, he went on to declare June 12 as Nigeria Democracy Day, which I don't. I'm among those who believe that that was not right. Why I say it's not right is because actually the events that ended the Third Republic did not ended with that. The annulment of the election was an anticlimax to democracy, to democratic development in Nigeria. It was actually an anticlimax because it took us way back. So it's a celebrating the anticlimax. The climax in Nigeria democracy is 29th of May 1999. That was when Nigeria showed the determination to actually turn back to democracy and civil rule. That should have been the proper democracy day.
Okay, if we have to talk,
we could have had June 12 as maybe Abiola, a national day for Abiola, not democracy was actually murdered.
Okay, that day. Let me hit on democracy as it stands now, like you stated. Do you think this country as it stands from that June 12th incident, because that was a really serious situation, and considering at the time the lives that were lost at that during that election, I think Dele Giwa was also affected. during that incident, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think democracy has been given the opportunity to rule in the country after that June 12th incident up till time?
Unfortunately, that answer is in a very very weak, in a very weak yes. Yes, yeah, but it's very weak because it appears that we have not actually learned, even in the political class, have not learned very well from the lessons of the June 12, 1993 saga and the events that followed thereafter. So, what I believe is that the events of that 12th of June 1993 helped in a way to shape Nigeria's discourse, on democracy. And how did that happen? The 1998-1999 arrangement, political arrangement that brought in the Fourth Republic and President Obasanjo as the leader of Nigeria, actually took a lot from the June 12th saga, and it shaped in a way that today we are still looking at the events of that day. But what I think with respect to the post and the position of the former head of state is that the declarations came very very late, and because of that it lacks its weight, very very light on morality and conscience. Because if this disclosure had come between 1993 that it occurred and perhaps 1996, 1997, it would have helped us in addressing the contradictions that arose from that annulment. While he kept his quiet, Babangida, as a former president, could have said all those, could have declassified those things that he held to his chest, and releasing now that he's almost too old to do anything. That time when he was very, very, at some point, Babangida wanted to contest to become Nigerian president, the president after Obasanjo. So he had so much. He could have those messages he released. He's now releasing his book. Though we haven't read it, but the nuggets of insight that have been coming out from it suggest what are the contents. So those things, I believe, he would have published it much earlier. It would have been much helpful to the Nigerian democracy if those things had been published earlier, because the truth coming from him would have been an official affirmation of actually what happened. Not that you would have changed what people believe as what happened, because like I said, nobody can change facts of what has already happened.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Ferdinand. But let me ask you a quick question lastly. Considering this June 12 elections situation that happened, and then how Babangida overturned his friend Abiola into the presidential election period. If we check right into the present period of this present time, we can see similar situation occurring where most people that actually do not deserve that did not get did not go through the procedure of elections and did not get that past elections, getting to take into power over the person that actually won elections. Is there supposed to be a situation? Do you think democracy can come into place? Because that was why I asked if democracy is still practiced in the country. Considering that situation that happened at that time, a long time ago. Up till now. And we can see similar situations going on. Is this supposed to be more like a political criteria in the political system in Nigeria? That you can just come in and take a space that isn't yours?
Well, if I understand your question correctly, when you ask me if Nigerians have learned, the political class, that is, has learned anything from the June 12 saga. I told you that if the answer is a yes, it's a very weak yes. Okay, because Nigerian politicians have been very bent on becoming civil rulers than democrats. Okay, the political space is not democratic enough, where people want to be in charge of determining who gets what and who becomes what. That is actually not a good sign that we have developed democratically and in our democratic culture and lifestyle. So democracy thrives on the dictates of the law and free press and supremacy of the constitution and equality of everybody before the law. So let the will of the majority, the popular will of the majority be allowed to take and determine who governs them. And that is actually the pillar of democracy.
Thank you.
So where the politicians, few persons sit down and determine who becomes a member of House of Assembly or who becomes the governor of a state and who becomes the senator and House of that's actually what has been destroying this Fourth Republic. And that culture needs to stop. If there's anything that Nigerians should learn from this, is the fact that one man could sit on the will of over 8 million Nigerians that elected Mko Abiola. And that one man, maybe it's with Babangida or the Justice Ibrahim that gave the judgment that annulled, they gave the order that annulled it. But what happens is that few persons, very few, infinitesimal percentage of Nigerians start to counter the popular will of Nigerians who wanted a leader in the person of Mko Abiola. And it took our dear former general 32 years to come to reality. For me, it's neither here nor there. It changes nothing. That with the disclosure by Babangida in his book, it's not what makes Nigeria believe now that so it's truly the Abiola that won the election. I already knew that Abiola won the election. If for Buhari to have recognized that, not only that, to recognize that and made June 12th, even though I feel that was wrong, the Democracy Day, it means that Babangida's book and publication came very too late in time. So
the question will be, does it change anything? Is it going to change the democracy of the country?
Change nothing.
Is it going to put in place, let's say people vote and their votes are counted for? This statement, is it going to make most of those politicians sit up and say, okay, if you're voted by the people, you are also allowed to rule the people according to the elections that has been conducted?
Like I said, 1993, those who were politically active in 1993 are no longer in charge of the political space now. Apart from, yes, of course, the current president may have participated somehow, not actually in 1993, but things that happened year after the annulment. But the truth is that if this disclosure or publication by the former head of state had come between 1993 and 1998 or 1999, it would have been useful in shaping Nigeria. It would have been much more impactful and much more significant, being that it came from him. But him keeping it quiet, and then event went out of his control, and Abu Salami, who I think is still the hero of Nigeria's democracy, not Babangida, managed to restore the Fourth Republic and was committed to making sure that the Fourth Republic did happen, and Nigerians were able to elect their own president in the person of Obasanjo. Whatever IBB knew or believed that happened would have just might as well stayed with him for the rest of his life.
Thank you so much.
It would have been of no impact to the political discourse.
Thank you so much on that, Barrister Ferdinand.